Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be listening from, depending on your location, and bonjour to our French-speaking audience. Thank you for joining us today, and welcome to the annual CPL celebration of Canadian soccer. It gets better every single year since I've been here, and listening to some of the 2018-19 folks that have been here all along, and it's just amazing to see the growth. Let me begin with a big thank you to everybody in this room and all of our stakeholders for the part you play in the development of the Canadian Premier League. You're pioneers in this game, and you're helping to build a lasting legacy for the sport, for all of Canadian soccer, and creating those opportunities for Canadians who love the game. I gotta say, it's amazing to be back here at Spruce Meadows, Atco Field. I just love this place, and those of you that have been here know what I'm talking about. If you're not familiar with Spruce Meadows, it's one of the most unique sporting venues, not just in Canada, but the entire world. All soccer fans should put this venue on their bucket list. You will not regret visiting it. And it's a testament to the long-term commitment that the Southern family has made in a true showcase for the beautiful game. Thank you to our hosts, the Southern family, Club CEO and owner Linda Southern Heathcott, President and COO Ian Allison. I think Ian is in the building here. Their staff, they've done a first-class job preparing the building for sold-out Atco Field for tomorrow's historic matchup. I'd also like to recognize their opponent, the Hamilton Sports Group, for the consistent excellence they bring on and off the field. HSG managing partner and CPL board chairman Scott Mitchell is relentless in his desire to build his club and our league into a CONCACAF power, and there's no bigger fan of CPL than his partner, the one and only caretaker, Bob Young. Last night, we had a spectacular award show honoring our players and coaches that everyone is still buzzing about. But that's all done. Tomorrow, the attention turns to the quest to lift the stunning North Star Cup. And what a matchup we have. Can Cavalry FC finally slay the dragon and lift their first North Star Cup? Or will 2024 CPL Shield winners Forge FC win their unprecedented fifth title in the CPL's first double? One thing we know for certain is that both clubs have earned the right to represent CPL and Canada in next year's prestigious CONCACAF Champions Cup. So congratulations to both of these clubs. That's a great honor. For those of you not lucky enough to be here in person tomorrow, don't worry, we got you covered, thanks to our domestic and international broadcast partners. I'm particularly pleased this year that this game will be easily accessible to all Canadians from coast to coast on CBC, CBC Gem, cbcsports.ca, TELUS, Fubo TV, and of course, One Soccer, the dedicated home to soccer in Canada that has broadcast every single minute of CPL action this season and for the past six seasons. We're lucky to have it. As a young league, sharing our marquee game with as wide an audience as possible is paramount. We're grateful for the commitment these partners have made to serve the rapidly growing audience that you heard about across this country. Of course, it's not enough, and One Soccer continues to battle the powerful legacy cable operators for its fair share of network distribution. We will not rest until we deliver on this goal and make it just as easy to watch domestic soccer in this country as it is to watch international soccer. The profile and respect for the quality of our league continues to grow outside of Canada. The final will be carried live in over 35 countries across the United States, Mexico, Central America, and the Caribbean via our partnerships with Fox Sports, Sky Mexico, and Flow Sports. Anecdotally, you all know that I'm from the States, and I have reasons to go down there for family and business, and it's amazing to tune into Fox Cable and see our matches distributed in the U.S. If you recall, we had a record-breaking Season 5. I'm proud to report that we carried that momentum into Season 6 on and off the field. We had a great milestone in Season 6, our 500 game. For those of you who've been around with me, think about that. 500 games is an amazing accomplishment for a young league. We also witnessed our clubs go toe-to-toe with some of the region's more established teams in the Canadian Championship, only to bow out due to the outdated away goals rule after posting well-deserved victories against all three MLS sides. We also had a highly respectable performances in the CONCACAF Champions Cup against the best of the region. And while we still have a long way to go, the gap is slowly narrowing. The CPL regular season competition was as competitive as it's ever been in 2024. The final match day of our 24 regular season began with 7 of our 8 teams still in contention for the playoffs, and only 2 of 8 teams had solidified their spots. It made for a dramatic day, as dramatic a day as any we've seen in our league's history. And we captured all the drama by having all of our matches kicking off concurrently for the first time ever, thanks to the outcome presented by tonybet. When all was said and done, the 6 points between this year's 8th place team and the final playoff spot, the smallest margin in league history, as was the 22 points that separated CPL Shield winners Forge from the last place team. All told, 111 out of 112 regular season games were meaningful to the final standings, making CPL one of the most competitive leagues in all of world football. That's something we're incredibly proud of. When a fan buys a ticket or tunes into one of our broadcasts, they'll never see our players just mailing it in, going through the motions. In CPL, literally every game matters. We know the critical importance of our players and the success of our league. They're great ambassadors on and off the field. And in 2024, we continued to invest in them with year-over-year increases in their total compensation, and I'm pleased to report that this will continue in 2025 with additional annual increases. Heading into 2024, we implemented new roster rules aimed at ensuring even more opportunities for young Canadian players. Our Exceptional Young Talent Initiative gained considerable traction. We better optimized our developmental roster by making youth sports players a subcategory, and we removed any age category requirements on international players to ensure that players coming into Canada from around the world complement the development of our young domestic talent. Importantly, we continue to support the U21 Minutes Initiative to ensure these young players get on the field and are simply not filling out rosters and being stockpiled for the future. Case in point, Shola Jimo, the exciting 16-year-old attacker from Brampton, who this week earned his first call-up into the Canadian men's national team environment, as well as a roster spot in the Canadian U17s. Shola shined with York United FC as part of this EYT initiative in June and went on to appear in 16 matches when he wasn't going to high school. He scored numerous important goals, including a big one in the playoffs, the game-tying assist, and I can't emphasize enough the importance of players like Shola competing day in and day out against established professionals, against men, in games of real consequence. You've heard our national team coach, Jesse Marsh, talk about the importance of developing younger players, and CPL is providing this platform and increasingly becoming the league of choice for promising young Canadian players. Speaking of promising young Canadians, for a second year running, we saw a new outbound league record transfer fee when Forge transferred this year's best Canadian under-21 player, Kwesi Poku, to Belgium's RWD Molenbeek in August. That was followed shortly by a call-up to the Canadian men's national team and his first cap. It's stories like Kwesi's and Shola's and Golden Glove winner Emil Gazdaff and Pacific FC and Vancouver's Grady McDonald and York's Noah Batney and Atletico Ottawa's Tier Walker, among many others that motivate us to continue unearthing this talent, investing in it, developing it, and it's going to pay huge dividends for Canada in the future. When it comes to the player pathway that's being developed, the connection between the CPL and League One Canada is as strong as ever in 2024. More than 60 players who played in the league this year, nearly a third of all the players in CPL were alumni of League One programs. League One has 53 clubs, boasting nearly 200 teams and approximately 3,400 men and women's players. League One is an integral part of the Canadian soccer development system, and similar to CPL, will be a critical resource for our friends at NSL as they build out their rosters. CPL players are also earning their stripes on the international stage. 13 of our players were called up to their senior men's national team on 33 separate occasions in 2024. Of course, some of them represented Canada, but also Trinidad and Tobago, Haiti, Guatemala, Lebanon, Philippines, and Liechtenstein. Really helps with our awareness and credibility as these players go around the world representing Canada. Let's switch to off the field. Off the field, CPL continues to invest millions of dollars in the development of the Canadian soccer ecosystem with the help of our growing legion of dedicated supporters and great business partners. I'm pleased to report that across all competitions, our attendance increased 14% and revenues were up 13% this year. Other key metrics like merchandise sales and local sponsorship were also up on the rise year over year. And so what's happening on the field, we're developing players. We're doing the same thing off the field and developing our staffs and our capabilities in order to better serve our fans and build sustainable businesses in our local communities. On the national sponsorship front, we were excited to add a new partner in Burnbrae Farms and Extra Time. You guys have probably seen it when you watch the broadcast. They're a sixth-generation Canadian family business which sponsored a great soccer celebration here in Calgary for youth players on Wednesday night and made an impactful donation to Kids Sport Calgary. We also renewed our partnership with Maple Lodge Farms, who will continue as the front of jersey partner with Atletico Ottawa. Some of you may recall that when they launched the partnership last year, they created a community-first kit to battle food insecurity and donated a case of product to community food centers for each jersey sold. And at last count, they've impacted over 8,000 lives through this amazing, amazing program. So that truly is a beautiful game. And our sponsorship team made me say this, so they said they want to organize a race between the chicken mascot of Maple Lodge Farms and the egg mascot of Burnbrae Farms to finally answer the age-old question of which one came first. I think I'll keep my day job. Finally, we're thrilled to renew our long-standing partnership with WestJet, who generously provided travel support to get many of us here today and adorn the front of the Cavalry FC jersey. While we are first and foremost a soccer league, we know that we have a responsibility to use our privileged platform to improve the communities in which we serve. Through our Volkswagen Game Changers program, which has donated more than $50,000 to local organizations on behalf of Canadians who are making positive impacts on their communities through soccer. We love this program. It shines a light on the unsung heroes of a game everywhere across the country, and these are the type of people that they don't do it for the publicity. They do it just because of their love of the game. And then on Tuesday morning this year, nearly 15,000 kids filled Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton for the league's inaugural school game, a field trip those students are unlikely to ever forget. And we're going to use that blueprint going forward with a lot of our clubs because it works so well. And what it does is it inspires the next generation of young people in our country to find their place in our game versus someone else's game. As I've stated previously, our plan is to thoughtfully expand CPL into new markets when we have the conditions we need to be successful. With the progress we are making with our league, the accelerator of World Cup 2026, I firmly believe there's not a better time to be invested in the CPL specifically and Canadian soccer generally. We have laid an incredibly solid foundation, and we're going to build a beautiful house on top of it. In the near term, our goal is to add 2 new teams for our 2026 season, and we are in discussions with several potential investor groups and municipalities in this regard. Markets of interest include, in alphabetic order, Edmonton, Laval, Kelowna, Kitchener-Waterloo, Quebec City, Saskatoon, several in the Greater Toronto Area, and Windsor, among others. To support this effort, we created an innovative new initiative called CPL On Tour and took a regular season match to a potential expansion city. In this case, this year we went to Kelowna, British Columbia, where 6,281 fans came out in the rain to watch Vancouver FC take on Cavalry FC. In addition to the fans, we were warmly welcomed by Kelowna's local government, businesses, and soccer community in the wake of the success soccer communities. And we plan on doing this in future cities in the coming years. So to sum it up, we're incredibly proud of the progress we're making and what candidly has been a bit of a challenging macro environment for our sport. but we always knew that building leagues is hard, building clubs is hard, building communities of soccer is hard. There are no shortcuts, no switches you can flip to make us English Premier League tomorrow. But if you focus on improving each and every day, each and every month, each and every season, we're going to establish something really special. A Canadian born and bred league, a league of real opportunity that is slowly but surely becoming a force to be reckoned with. And tomorrow's CPL final will be another memorable chapter in this never-ending journey of progress and the legacy that we're all creating.
Commissioner, you talked about the success of being able to bring, the national broadcaster CBC to the final tomorrow. Yeah. Something that a lot of people have been looking towards as something that the league needs to have for it to continue to grow and succeed. Now that you have it, what are the next steps to be able to, capitalize on this momentum, on this attention that you have now to help the league grow and achieve those long-term goals? Yeah,
we're really excited. I mean, it starts with the product. We talk a lot about football first. Football first is so important because everything emanates from the product. So whether it's developing players, developing clubs, developing atmospheres for our stadium, it starts there. But then it's showcasing that product to the widest possible audience. As a rights holder, which we are, our goal is to get our product seen as widely as possible, but also to derive value from the valuable content that we have. And it's great that CBC recognizes that value. It's amazing to have One Soccer. TELUS has been an incredible partner, but we've got to get the legacy cable companies on board. And if you look at the media environment, even though it's rapidly changing, most Canadians still watch their live sports on those two legacy cable companies, and we're not going to rest, as I said in remarks, until it's just as easy to watch domestic soccer, Canadian Premier League soccer, Canadian national team soccer, as it is to watch international soccer.
And then something else you mentioned there, the success of this year was in the youth, in the players like Shola Jimo, Noah Badne. I was talking to Rob Friend at the end of season availability of Vancouver FC, and he said that the advantage that his team and all the teams have over maybe some of the MLS teams is the CPL in terms of giving those opportunities to the young players to play against men, like you mentioned in your address there. How vital is that to the long-term goals of this league, and how maybe more can you build on it so even more young players start to see the CPL as the better option of the two?
Yeah, I mean, we do what it is that we think is right to develop our league. There's different paths for different players, and but what you're seeing is that CPL has become a real viable path for young players, because not only are we giving them opportunity to play against men, to play meaningful games, to be broadcast, to be seen, not just in CPL, but in regional competitions. But we also are not hesitating to move them on when they have an opportunity to go a more established league. And so that combination of opportunity as well as not holding them back, I mean, huge respect for Forge. In the middle of their season, they sell this incredible striker, and they're still here in the final. It just tells you what a great organization that is. And so if I'm a young player and I'm thinking, how am I going to develop, CPL is an amazing option for them.
Along with growing the league, obviously talking about, cable distribution being one of the next steps. Where are you as well with communicating with local municipalities or just cities when it comes to fields? Because I know that that's also a huge aspect when it comes to new teams coming on board and expansion.
Yeah, great question. Facilities is one of the most challenging things that we have in Canada when it comes to soccer. It's certainly stadiums to host professional CPL games, NSL games, and really showcase a professional product, but it's also in the grassroots. Soccer's got twice the participation of hockey. There are more and more kids playing. This World Cup in 2026 and the Women's World Cup in 2027 is just going to accelerate that growth, and we need our communities to wake up and recognize that these kids need places to play, and they also need role models and inspiration with leagues and clubs like CPL and NSL. And it's a huge challenge. It's something that Marnie Dicker, who's here tonight, our head of infrastructure, is an expert at, and she's working with municipalities not just to get stuff built for CPL, but how do we make sure that we're working with the communities to lay the groundwork for the future?
Go ahead, Moses.
Commissioner, just in regards to expansion, how much of it has been on the forefront for you? Of course, having a television deal is big, but also expanding the league from its current 8 teams.
Yeah.
Has that been something that you've been encouraged in your time as commissioner, or has it been something that has been a little bit more slow going in your mind?
Yeah, we said we need all the right conditions to expand, and it's very important that we do expand at the right time in the right place. You need a facility. You need a great ownership group like you have here in Calgary. You need a municipality who is going to support you. You need the corporate community to get involved. You need the youth soccer community to want you in the program. You need a phenomenal group of supporters that's going to be your hardcore fan. But it's very important because in addition to giving us more content, more games for distribution, what it does is it increases the player pipeline. And when you increase the player pipeline, it's just like sales. The more people you have in your pipeline, the better it's going to get if you're training them well. So and that pipeline will start in the grassroots, hopefully through League One, up through CPL, national teams, and beyond.
And just following up really quickly, in regards to those teams, will they just be brand new expansion teams, or have you had there's discussions with groups that want to, say, promote one of those League One teams into the CPL?
Yeah, we're open to anyone that can meet those conditions, right? It would be a great story to have, a Simcoe United, for instance. They're doing a phenomenal job and looking to build to be able to elevate them up into CPL. So we're absolutely not opposed to a League One team raising a standard to get up into to CPL, but the market needs to be big enough to support CPL as well. And that's the reason why we have League One and continue to increase the standards in League One so that we've got this pathway. But we're open-minded to whether it's a League One market that we believe can support, or obviously new markets.
Commissioner, a colleague of mine is working on FIFA Forward, a story on the FIFA Forward program. I wanted to ask you, what's the significance of the FIFA Forward program for the CPL? How does that help you out?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. FIFA Forward is a program where we get funding from FIFA through Canada Soccer in order to support our operations. And it's about $650,000 a year, $500,000 USD. And we invest that into everything from paying referees to traveling and building our infrastructure. It's a great program, and we're grateful to be participating in it. And it helps FIFA too, because we're growing. We have a top 10 economy here in Canada, but we're still a baby when it comes to soccer. So if Canada grows up in this sport, it's really good for FIFA. So we don't expect it's going to last forever, but it's really helpful as we are in our developmental stage.
Commissioner, obviously you guys are entering this offseason on a bit more stable footing than last year with a great first year for the Pascal brothers at York. And I understand there's the final, the draft, and some year-end things to do. But as you go into this offseason, what are some of the priorities or focuses as you launch into 2025 with the same 8 and some of the goals you've outlined to achieve next year?
Yeah, I think one of the key things that we've already started working on is how do we launch 2025 into 2026 and take advantage of this seminal event that's going to hit this market in 600 and something days, Laura? And so we have to start planning that now. We're working on the various things you do in the off season in terms of rosters and rule changes and things like that. We've talked about expansion, how important it is to bring that home. Certainly, we're going to continue to work on the player development pathways. You mentioned Rob and Costa Smirnotis they're working together on how we continue to develop those pathways, and so it's continue to improve the product, improve our media distribution. Bring these cable companies to the table, and plan for taking advantage of this event that's coming to Canada.
And just finally, now that you've had another full season as commissioner of this league, what would you describe your level of optimism for where the league can go and just the overall health of the CPL right now, heading into a pretty big game tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm really optimistic because we're, the last couple of years, we've had some big problems that we've had to solve, and they're not going to go away, but we're, slowly but surely knocking all these obstacles out of our way. And I couldn't be more optimistic from where I sit right now. We have a men's and women's national team. We are fantastic. We've got a league. The quality gets better every single year. You go to our stadiums and you feel it with the supporters. These are real soccer environments. You listen to guys like Marco Carducci talk about how far this league has come, and yet we're just getting started. We are such a baby in the grand scheme of things, and people got to realize that is how far we've come in such a short period of time, and how quickly we're going to continue to develop. And that's the exciting thing. That's why I'm here. That combination of quality of national teams, the growth of the league to new communities. It's a huge opportunity.
Commissioner, obviously, year-over-year growth in revenues and attendance is amazing, but I think the other thing that was really encouraging this year to see was all three MLS teams losing to CPL teams in the Canadian Championship. I think there's a feeling now that it's a matter of when, not if, a CPL team is going to win this competition. So my question to you is, what can this league do to continue to improve the standard of play on the field, make players better, give players better opportunities, so that we can see a CPL team lift that Voyageurs Cup?
Yeah, it certainly is our objective, and we have formidable competitors that are well funded, and they certainly, I think, I don't want to say have taken us for granted a little bit, but I think they understand now that anytime they step on a field with a CPL club, it's going to be a battle, and our objective is to win that competition, get the third CONCACAF Champions Cup. Excuse me, I'm still in my old mode, but so to get that third spot, because it's such a valuable opportunity for our clubs, and the only way we're going to do that is by recruiting and developing better players, better coaches, and creating the atmosphere where they can be successful.